Okay, now elimination method. Day 5, we're going to do a little bit more elimination, and for day 6 and 7, it's all substitution. Okay, so what are the 6 steps of elimination method? Well, first thing we want to make sure is that we align all the variables together. Okay, and then we want to make sure that the coefficient, it doesn't have to be 6 step, but let me summarize it. So the coefficient has to be the same for one of the variable for x or y. And then you're going to subtract to eliminate x or y. And then after that, you're going to solve for x or y, the remaining, okay? And then obviously you will get POI. So let's double check and let's see how we're doing. So let's try for letter B, number 2B. So in this case, they're not aligned, okay? So we have equation 1 and 2. So I'm going to align them in x, y, and a number. So it's 2x minus y equals 5. So I want x to be at the front, so 3x plus y, but I'm going to move positive 9 to the right side, so it becomes negative 9. Now, as you can see, which variable do I want to get rid of? Well, I want to get rid of y because the coefficient is the same. Because for y, there's negative 1, and then here I have positive 1. Now, but I said in step 3, I said subtract, but sometimes you may have to add or subtract to eliminate, okay? So for example, if I want to eliminate y here, if I were to subtract it, negative 1 minus 1, I'm going to get negative 2y. It's not good. So we cannot subtract here. So instead, we have to add to eliminate y. So for example, negative 1y plus negative 1y, I get 0. So I eliminate it by adding it. Okay, so please watch out. If they have an opposite sign but same number, you will have to add in order to eliminate. So 2 plus 3x is 5x. So y cancels out because negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Equals 5 plus negative 9 is negative 4. So therefore, x is equal to negative 4 over 5. So we found x. Now, to find y, we can plug it into equation 1 or 2. So let me plug it into equation 1. Okay. So therefore, it's going to be 2 negative 4 over 5 minus y equals 5. So we're solving for y. Negative 5a. So I'm going to bring y to the other side. So it becomes positive y, right? Negative y becomes positive y when I move it to the right side. And I'm going to move 5 to the left side. So positive 5 will now become negative 5. And then when you punch it in, or you can make a same denominator if you want to do mental math. So I'm going to do over 1, so I'm going to multiply this by 5. So it's negative 8 minus 25 over 5 equals y. So therefore, y is equal to negative 33 over 5. There you have it. So therefore, for these two relations, they will meet at a point of intersection when it's at negative 4 over 5, comma, negative 33 over 5. So if you prefer to, if you're graphing it, I will put it in a decimal, so it's like negative 0.8, comma, negative 6.6. That is also correct as well. Now for substitution method, what you want to do, it's a little bit different. We're not aligning a variable. Instead, we want to isolate for one of the equation so that it's x is equal to something, or you could do y is equal to something. It's up to you, okay? But I prefer to isolate the variable that does not have a coefficient. So let's take a look at A. So I'm going to number equation 1 and 2. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to isolate for y because no coefficient is in front of y. It's just 1. So it's going to be easier. So y is equal to negative 2x plus 2. Now that I have isolated, I'm going to plug in equation 1 into equation 2. So what that means is that I'm going to write 3x for equation 2 plus 2. So this is my equation 2. But instead of writing y, you can see that y is equal to negative 2x plus 2. So that's what I'm going to replace it, substitute. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 2, and then equals 5. And after that, we are going to do the distributive property. So distribute, distribute. So 3x minus 4x plus 4 equals 5. So it looks like I have a like term here. And I'm going to bring 4 to the other side. So 5 minus 4 is 1. But we don't want anything in front of x. So let's divide everything by negative 1. So therefore x is equal to negative 1. Now that I have found x, all we need to do is plug it in into any equation. So I'm going to I prefer to plug it in into 1 because it's already isolated. So I'm going to say x is equal to negative 1, plugging into equation 1. So therefore, y is equal to negative 2, and instead of writing x, I'm plugging in negative 1 plus 2. So negative 2 times negative 1 is 2 plus 2. Therefore, y is equal to 4. Don't forget the therefore statement. So the point of intersection, these two lines will meet at negative 1, comma 4. So this is substitution, where you are isolating for one of the variable and we are subbing into another equation. Now let's try example, let's try letter D, okay? So for letter D, again, I'm going to label equation 1 and equation 2, and I'm going to ask myself, which equation do I want to isolate for? So I'm going to isolate for equation 1 because I don't have a coefficient for y. But you can isolate for x if you like. So for example, let's say I like to isolate for x here this time. So negative x is equal to negative 2y plus 7. But I don't like negative at the front. It has to be just x. So I'm going to divide everything by negative. So divide by negative 1, and negative 1. So it cancels out. So x is equal to negative becomes positive, like this. Okay, so now that I have isolated for x, I'm going to substitute equation 2 into equation 1. So equation 1 is 3x plus y equals 7. So this time, I'm going to plug in x is 2y minus 7. So that's what I'm going to plug in into x. So 2y minus 7, and then plus y is equal to 7. And then don't forget distributive property. collect the like terms. And I'm going to move negative 21 to the other side. So it becomes 28. So y is 4. Now that we have found y, we are going to plug in y into equation 2 because x is already isolated. X is equal to 2 times 4 minus 7. Okay, therefore, point of intersection is going to be 1, 4. You need to be comfortable doing both substitution and elimination. But substitution is easy when you have just no number other than 1 in front of a variable. That's the easiest way to do a substitution. So if you take a look at a letter F, so when you have two equations here, I would isolate for equation 1 as y is equal to 2x plus 10. I move 2x to the other side. So it's better so that I don't have to divide anything by it, right? So try to do it. But if you have like a coefficient for all the numbers, then you don't have a choice. You just have to just choose one, okay? Now let's try doing word problems. So this is a word problem. So for the following problems, create a let statement. And you're going to write two equations and solve by substitution method. And don't forget a therefore statement because it's a word problem. Okay, so let's take a look at example 1. Malcolm is twice as old as Sandeep. The sum of their age is 39. Find the ages of the boys. Okay, so it looks like the question is asking find the age. So that means our let statement is answering what the question is asking. Let, we can say M be the age of Malcolm. And we could say let S be the age of Sandeep. Now we need two equations because we have two variables. So equation 1, we can say that Malcolm is twice as old as Sandeep. So that means Malcolm is going to be is twice as old as Sandeep. So 2 times S. And then the sum of their age, so Malcolm plus Sandeep is 39. Okay, now that we have the two equations, let's do substitution. So for equation 1 is already isolated because M is equal to MS. So I don't have to rearrange so that M or S is equal to. So therefore, equation 1, I'm going to plug it into equation 2. M is SS. 2S, I mean. So I'm going to plug in here. So instead of writing M, I'm writing 2S plus S equals 39. We have the like terms here, so it's going to be 3S equals 39. Divide both sides by 3. S is equal to 13. So it looks like Sandeep is 13 years old. Well, to find Malcolm's age, now we're going to plug in S equals 13 into equation 1. Because M is already isolated, so 2 times S is 13. Therefore, it looks like Malcolm is 26 years old. So don't forget a therefore statement. Therefore, Malcolm is 26 years old. And Sandeep is 13 years old. Okay, sorry. Now, what about question number 2? So I will help you set up the equation, and then the substitution is exactly the same method. Okay. The cost of printing a magazine is based on a fixed setup cost and the number of pages to be printed. One printing company charges $2.50 setup fee and $5 per page, while the second company charges $400 setup fee plus $4 per page. What does the point of intersection represent here? Okay. Now, it looks like every time you see per or every, or you see this symbol, it pretty much represents the slope, the rate of change. Okay, so in this case, we could say, because it's one of the variable is the page. So we can say let x be the number of pages. And we could say let y be the total cost, because it involves money in dollar. We can start with the first printing company. The total cost is, it's $5 per page, so 5x plus one-time setup fee, so initial fee, so $2.50. And then the second company, the total charge is, it's $4 per page, plus there is $400 setup fee, one-time setup fee. Therefore, so let's do a substitution. I'm going to, this, luckily, equation 1 and 2, it's already isolated. So what I can do, y is equal to this circle, the green one. All I need to do is just plug it in. This into y, because y is 5x plus 250. So let's plug in x into equation 1 into 2. So therefore, instead of writing y, 5x plus 250 equals 4x plus 400. I'm going to collect like terms, so I'm going to bring 4x to the left side and positive 250 to the right side to collect the like term. X is equal to 150. Okay, so it looks like the point of intersection, it's going to be 150 pages. Now, to figure out the cost y, I'm going to plug in x equals 150 into equation 1 or 2, doesn't matter. When I do, it's going to be 5 times 150 plus 250. Y is equal to 1,000. So therefore, I'm going to write it here, therefore, the point of intersection is 150, 1,000. Now, what does this point of intersection mean here? X is number of pages and Y is the cost. That means these two companies are going to charge $1,000 for 150 pages. The same. So if you're printing 150 pages, it doesn't matter if you go with the first company or the second company. It's going to cost the same. So POI, it means for 150 pages, both companies will charge $1,000. Okay. Now the second question is saying, which company should Richard choose to print 175 pages? Now, when you're thinking about this, so obviously it's beyond the point of intersection. Okay. So what you can do is you could actually plug it in here. So for equation 1, y is equal to 175 plus 250. And for first company, Y is equal to 1,125. So that's how much it's going to cost. But what about company 2? Y is equal to 4 times 175 plus 400. And therefore, you get $1,100. So clearly, company 2 is way cheaper, right? By $25. So therefore, Richard should choose second company because to save $25.